Having a title to a piece of this rock continues to open economic opportunities for Jamaicans, and with effective social inclusion being a strategic priority of the government in this financial year, more efforts are being made to empower people with their land titles. Stick around for more information. Also in the half hour, entertainment options in Kingston for February. You don't want to miss that. I'm Adrian Atkins and we'll get the ball rolling in a few minutes.
I needed help to expand my business, but the banks only wanted to be up in my business. The high interest rates were killing my business. They're never really business with my business.
At the Exim Bank, we have your business needs covered. Our application process is easy, and we provide loans at competitive rates for the productive sector. From renewable energy projects and working capital to plant upgrades or expansion and export financing. Come in and talk to us today. The Exim Bank. On the road to success, you are going to want us in your business.
Good day, I'm Samantha Allen and this is your JIS News for Friday, January 31. The Ministry of Health is assuring the public that necessary inspections continue at key food establishments, even as some public health inspectors in the corporate area remain off the job. Kingston and St. Andrew public health inspectors, represented by the Jamaica Association of Local Government Officers, JALGO, are reportedly refusing to use their personal vehicles for work purposes. The Health Ministry says it's employing a range of measures to continue operations while trying to resolve the impasse. The work is being facilitated by Public Health Department vehicles and assigned drivers. In addition, the Kingston and St. Andrew Public Health Department has engaged retired public health inspectors to help where there are challenges. Efforts to improve the management and care of children with cancer are being strengthened at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. Partnering with Columbia University in New York, the hospital is securing additional training for medical professionals in pediatric oncology. Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson says the initiative is important to achieving some significant goals.
But in looking at cancer, we have taken a decision to look at it along the complete continuum, starting from screening to diagnosis, all the way to palliative care. And we have been working steadfast in that regards.
He said the ministry was working on introducing the HPV vaccine that prevents infections associated with cancer. Additionally, 2 linear accelerators for radiation treatment should be in place within the next 12 months so that vulnerable persons can get treatment. Meanwhile, residents of James Hill and adjoining communities in Clarendon are now enjoying greater access to primary health care. The National Health Fund recently financed the construction of a new Type 2 health center in the area at a cost of $41 million. It's one of several being built or upgraded in keeping with the government's priority focus on enhancing primary health care.
Today we are over 100. And in building this network of centers, and in dealing with the primary renewal process, this center is yet another good example.
Government is to embark on a logistics hub public education campaign across Jamaica. Industry, Investment and Commerce Minister Anthony Hilton says the recent logistics hub symposium revealed that many Jamaicans were still in the dark about aspects of the initiative. The campaign is to take the form of mobile roadshows and will include several public entities.
We will roll into towns all across Jamaica and set up shop for a day or two to offer the raft of services available through these agencies, while educating them on their role, as well as opportunities in relation to the logistics hub and the economy as a whole.
Mr. Hilton was speaking on Wednesday at a post-logistics hub symposium press briefing. Technology Minister Philip Paulwell says government is moving to ensure that the over 200 secondary schools outfitted with computer labs are equipped with broadband internet services.
We believe that the price of broadband is too high, so we are going to make sure that the schools are properly equipped. When you have access to information, you really are embracing the potential for tremendous wealth.
Minister Paul Well was speaking at the recent opening of an ICT community access point in Rosetown, St. Andrew. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller is making good on her announced intent to give more attention to rural development. Information Minister Senator Sandria Faulkner recently announced the appointment of an officer responsible for rural healthcare infrastructure development. Prime Minister Simpson Miller has given the task to Luther Buchanan, the State Minister in the Office of the Prime Minister. It's in addition to his existing responsibilities for special projects and assignments.
The Ministry of Health has responsibility for over 300 rural healthcare centers, all at differing levels as far as the quality of infrastructure is concerned. Along with his additional duties, Minister Buchanan will provide leadership and oversight to ensure improved infrastructure exists for the delivery of rural healthcare throughout these centers and other facilities.
Mr. Buchanan's new role supports plans to establish a rural development task force within the Office of the Prime Minister. And finally, the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission, JADCO, has a new board of commissioners headed by businessman Ardani Williams. While thanking the former board for its service to the commission, Information Minister Senator Sandria Faulkner announced the members of the new JADCO board recently.
The other members of the board are Dr. Winston Isle, Gary Peart, Deborah Martin, the Honorable Dennis Layla, Dr. Thelma Nelson, Anthony Lawrence, Dr. Patricia Honus, Carmen Tiplin, Reverend Devon Dick, and two official members, Jacqueline Lynn Stewart from the OPM and JADCO's Executive Director.
The board will serve for 3 years, ending December 2016. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Samantha Allen. Thanks for watching. Motorists, know your rights as road users. If you're stopped by the police in a road check, the police have the right to ask for your driver's license and vehicle documents. If you don't have the documents on you, you can ask for 5 days to provide them at a convenient police station. If you don't have vehicle insurance, you can be prosecuted and face the court. If you fail to renew the registration license, the police are entitled to seize your vehicle. If the police wish to search your vehicle, they should tell you the reasonable grounds for wanting the search. If you are given a ticket, sign it only if you plan to pay the fine and not contest the charge in court. And please be reminded, children under 18 years must wear a seatbelt, even if they are seated in the back. Know your rights. Knowledge of the traffic road code makes it easier to work with the police as they do their job to make the roads safer for you and everyone else.
The Land Administration and Management Program, LAMP, and Korean Cadastral Mapping have forged an ongoing partnership to empower residents with their land titles. Let's look at the latest initiatives to help residents in St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland.
1,000 residents in the parishes of St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne have benefited from land titles courtesy of the Cadastral Mapping and Land Registration in Jamaica project, an initiative of the Government of Jamaica in collaboration with the Government of Korea through the Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA. Today we explore more about this initiative and hear the stories of some of the beneficiaries of this program. So come, take a walk with us.
I want to tell them that I thank them. I love what they're doing because they're doing a great job for Jamaican.
Great job indeed. 2013 saw agreement signed between the Republic of Korea by way of the Korea International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, and Jamaica, represented by the Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change. It's for the land titling project that expands the LAMP2 contract, which was signed with the Koreans in 2010. The project is on track for its completion date in March 2014.
The KOICA project is basically a spin-off from the LAMP2 project, which specifically looked at a partnership between the Government of Jamaica through LAMP, the Korean Cadastral Surveying Corporation out of Korea, and a private sector partner in Jamaica, Geoland Title Limited.
Through this program, many are getting the tool to access the path of personal empowerment.
Growing up, my father blind me have a title. I'm dead gone, I couldn't get nothing out of it. Right? And now I have my kids them can have something.
We decided to focus on land settlements because of their history and context in our Jamaican life. Land settlements are basically lots that would have been allotted to Jamaicans, working class persons years ago. And one of the main challenges that we have had in terms of sorting out titling for these land settlements is that the surveying cost is really prohibitive. So what it is that we're doing is that the Koreans are providing the funding and actually contracting surveyors here in Jamaica to do the survey work so that we can expedite the processing of these titles for persons.
Approximately US $2 million has been pumped into this land titling initiative by our Korean partners.
We KOICA team assist the LAMP program to accelerate the LAMP process.
The 3 parishes to benefit was decided after extensive study.
Those parishes came out of rigorous discussions with ourselves and our Korean partners. There was a feasibility study done, and there were actually representatives from Korea who came and looked at sites with us, visited sites. We had several of them, and they were the ones who indicated that when they looked in terms of just physical amenities, access to water, light, those were the concerns when you look to see how many children we saw when we went there at the times, whether or not the persons were involved in farming, what kind of work they did. They were the ones who guided us in terms of, okay, we think that these are the areas that we would want to assist you with.
A similar process was used to select the 1,000 beneficiaries to ensure those who needed it the most received the help. Some beneficiaries from Crooked River in Annotto Bay, St. Mary, shared how they came to be selected.
Them come and them put up them circle line, and we read the circle and see the necessary information, and we carry the necessary document and got the location, and in the meeting them inform us of what is taking place,
Residents also had to ensure that due process was followed and all requisite forms filled out.
This program benefit me in a good way, because we know that in the coming future we have a title to look forward to, and we can use it to borrow money to do whatever we please.
I'm feeling very, very good, because most of all, having our own title, we can do anything with it. Can go to the bank, borrow money, because we have my little girl. She soon reach college stage, so we can get it to benefit from.
I feel great still, because knowing that we don't have no friend in our society to mark our identity. So we can go to bank and we can do certain transaction without no godfather, and people now put up for them sitting to help you. So you feel independent and empowered, Because if your daughter or your son to go to college, you can borrow money, and if you have your skill and you want advance yourself in the future, you can use your title as a Carol and back yourself, you see me? So I feel good,
Hope you've learned a great deal about the cadastral mapping and land registration in Jamaica project, an ongoing project with the government of Jamaica and the government of Korea. Indeed, the residents of Crooked River in St. Mary are truly grateful, as we found out today. And it's not only happening in St. Mary, but also in Portland and St. Anne. For further information about land issues, be sure to contact the National Land Agency, or LAMP. Perhaps very soon you could own your land title.
A message from the Bureau of Gender Affairs and the Dispute Resolution Foundation, paid for by the UN Women Fund for Gender Equality.
The Ministry of National Security remains on a mission to put a lid on crime, and as part of the Unite for Change campaign, the ministry in conjunction with stakeholder groups hosted a national forum on youth violence prevention on Thursday. Well over 1,000 people were at the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston to share best practices while getting up-to-date information on resources available to help in the fight against crime. There was a common thread among participants: every sector of society, the police, schools, churches, non-profit organizations, civil society and communities need to work together to support the development of young people and ultimately reduce crime.
Your presence here signals your commitment to being a part of the Unite for Change initiative.
Any effort to reduce the levels of violence will have to involve a comprehensive mobilization of the nation's will. And that, in turn, will require what I like to call a national alliance of the law-abiding.
We need to strengthen existing programs and make them that are effective and make them more widely available.
Mr. Bunting, what he has done today for this forum, it has been great. The presentations also, I have learned a lot, especially the youth empowerment. So it has been good.
The presentations and the ambience, the young people, the interactions have been great.
Unite for Change National Forum on Youth Violence Prevention, mobilizing citizens and stakeholder groups to coordinate best practices and help in the fight against crime.
What are you doing to help the fight against crime?
Sitting on the corner, minding your own business, definitely not going to work.
It is time for us to unite.
Unite. Unite for change.
Citizens coming together to make their respective communities safer. The police, schools, public health, business, churches, NGOs, parents and neighborhood watch volunteers.
As we, the police, do our job,
we as citizens need to do our part as well.
Report crimes or even suspicious activities.
Let's all work together
as one united front against crime.
And make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Unite for Change, an initiative of the Ministry of National Security.
In today's economy, it's not enough to be a job seeker. Students have to be equipped with the technical know-how in the business of entrepreneurship. More on that next.
Children have great ambitions for the future.
Doctor, fast like Usain Bolt.
But in addition to those dreams, should be a desire to become entrepreneurs, creators rather than seekers of jobs.
We can think of ideas like when you come up with an idea, it's free and you don't have to pay anyone to do that.
They use their creative minds and they have it in their mind what they want to do, and like they should write it out on paper.
An entrepreneur is a person who owns a business. And with so many persons looking for jobs, having your own business might be the thing that puts food on the table.
My suggestion is to cultivate in our children from now that they're creative and that they're competent in developing products, inventions, a number of creative income-earning activities.
Parents, you can start by identifying and developing the skills that a child may have. Write down their ideas or ask them to do the recording.
What's happening right now is that our kids don't recognize their creative talent. They don't even know that this can lead to their millions in the long run.
But some children are not waiting on the adults to give them a start. Meet 9-year-old Joshua. He's well on his way to becoming an entrepreneur, a baker.
I was at home and I was baking with my mom and I seemed to love it, so I just started baking. I will bake cookies, brownies, cakes, and cupcakes.
Anything else?
I've baked pie before.
So do you watch a lot of TV shows or so about cooking?
Maybe 2 times a week.
Like what? What do you watch?
Food Network.
When you bake your stuff, what do you do with them?
I sell them so I can get money to buy stuff for myself.
Wow! Family, friends, and close relatives often enjoy the gastronomical delights of Baker Josh.
Today we'll be making orange cupcakes. To make them, you'll need 2.5 cups of flour, 3/4 of butter, 3/4 of sugar, 3 eggs, 1 cup of orange juice, 1 teaspoon of lime rind, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a pinch of salt. First, I will cream the sugar with the butter. All you have to do is just use a fork, or if you want, you can use a spoon, but a fork works better. Now I will beat in the eggs. Then now I'm gonna fold in the flour. Now I'll add in the juice. Then after that, just add the lime and just stir. And then I use 1/4 cup and fill in each. Now set the time to 15 minutes. Now stick the cupcakes with a knife or a toothpick to see if they're done. And they are done.
Wow, Joshua, so these are the cupcakes that you made all by yourself, might I add? And these are what you call again? What type of cupcakes?
Orange cupcakes.
Okay, may I taste one?
Yes.
Sure, which one? This one. Okay, so you're not tasting any? This is actually good, Joshua. Well, you're not supposed to talk with food in your mouth, of course. It's actually nice for me. What do you think?
It's okay.
So it's not too early for you to start your little business. Examine yourself and your creative talent and see what works best for you. And for the parents, talk to your children about entrepreneurship.
Let them know who's an entrepreneur and let them know that entrepreneurship is an equally viable option to income earning as is going to work for somebody. And when you do go and get your education, it is to consider both working roles.
Beginning in a few days, for the entire month of February, Kingston will be the venue for all things entertainment. It's an initiative being spearheaded by the Ministry of Tourism and Entertainment. Details next.
Bordered by the world's 7th largest natural harbor, home to cultural landmarks, it's the heartbeat of the country. And now, with the introduction of Reggae Month, it's Kingston for February, promising to make the city capital a hotspot for local and foreign entertainment seekers.
From jungle to Rima, from Tivoli to Manchester.
For years, there's been talk about strengthening the marketing might behind Kingston's tourism presence, promoting its built-in attractions, attracting more investments for its accommodations portfolio, and accommodating more tourists within the city limits. In 2014, all throughout the second calendar month, years of planning and smaller projects are evolving into the major initiative billed Reggae Month. It's Kingston for February. The initiative capitalizes on February's established entertainment agenda that comes with the celebrations for both Black history and reggae within the month.
Most of the Reggae Month activities were already funded by the government, by the ministry. And so what we're doing now is to further fund some other events, but also, as I said, organize them so that we can get greater value and express to the persons who are seeking to come to Jamaica. For one event with plane fare and a hotel room, etc., might not be sufficient. But coming for a month of events would have disseminated the plane fare and other events over a broader scale of activities.
The initiative will be a launching pad for an even bigger acknowledgement for the capital.
We want Kingston to be the cultural super state as a city, and it will contribute to our application for creative city status under UNESCO, which is in March 31st being the deadline.
Already there is much expectation.
But Chronix just hides up, so Kabaka there, Rasta run the island now. Hey, Janina shine and glow.
With the ministry's endorsement, a slew of events have been unveiled, structured to titillate all. From music festivals to lectures, Kingston will come alive for the 28 days. And Kingston's regular partner, St. Andrew, will not be left out of the fun.
Does celebrate reggae music both from the entertainment side but also from the education side. The University of West Indies is on board, and also you'll also have the Reggae University in the park to give information as to what reggae and where it's coming from and what it represents.
It's hard to say which of these events will be the top draw. Reggae Wednesdays, organized by the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JERIA, is an annual showstopper. Every year, hundreds of patrons turn out weekly for the free event to be entertained by their favorite artists. Then there's Arts in the Park. Started last year by the ministry in collaboration with international recording artist Shaggy, the second staging is scheduled to be bigger and better.
The intent of Arts in the Park was to expose our talent to the intermediaries, to the Universals, to the Sonys, to the VTs, which we carried in last year. And so therefore this year Arts in the Park will incorporate three aspects of our entertainment industry. We'll be carrying down galleries to look at some of our fine arts, and we'll be carrying down also some alternative festivals to look at our spoken word, as well as carrying down some booking agents to look at some of our singers. We find that it is easier to get success from the booking side than from the signing to contract side. So we're carrying down booking agents, 13 booking agents from outer Europe.
And for the first time in more than 50 years, a Poet Laureate will be named. Nominations for the 2014-2017 Poet Laureate closed last December, and the recipient of the honorary award will be announced on February 16. Past recipients of the prestigious honor have been Tom Redcombe and J.E. Claire McFarlane. But no doubt the other events are gearing up to be just as interesting and entertaining.
Do you remember the days of slavery? Whoa. And I said, do you remember the days of slavery?
I feel the sun on my skin, know it's gonna be one of those days to put your mind at ease. Got the radio playing as I feel the breeze. Yo, beat, pass me up there, please. I'll be a living song. No, we're not we're gonna dance all night till the sun come up.
So if you're away or at home, the ministry is inviting you to come to Kingston. There is an event for everyone, with some having no cover charge. Don't stay at home. Take along your friends and explore Reggae Month. It's Kingston for February. For more information on the ministry's initiative, you may call 920-4926-30 or click on their website, mot.gov.jm.
I feel it in my bones and sing. Thinking about the joy you bring, you feel no. Don't take this for joke. You're the Hennessy to my cup.
And that's how we end this Friday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Please tell us what you think. You may send comments to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Follow us on Twitter @JISNews and visit our website, jis.gov.jm. And remember, it's a weekend. Embrace it. With a few deep breaths, rest and exercise, you may just get the required energy to confront the new week full speed ahead. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.